More breaking news into our newsroom today. Dan Graziano, what do we have?
Washington football team announces that they're benching starting quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Kyle Allen will be the starter this week. Allen played in Carolina last year for Ron Rivera, who's now Washington's head coach, and Scott Turner, who's now their offensive coordinator. Interesting aspect of this is that the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart is now Alex Smith, who's still recovering from that horrendous injury from a couple of years ago. So if something were to happen to Allen during the game, it looks like Alex Smith would get a chance to play.
And so Haskins falls all the way to 3 on the depth chart then, if I'm understanding you correctly. Let me bring in my group. Actually, earlier in this show, Desmond Howard, I asked you, do you believe this was the move to make in Washington? And you said yes, and now they do. Look, you and I both watched Dwayne Haskins play every game he played in college. We're both Big Ten guys. He had the best seasons, at least statistically, that any Big Ten quarterback ever had. Where do you think it has gone sideways for him in Washington, and do you think he can resurrect his career? He was a first-round pick just a year and a half ago.
Well, Greeny, you hit it on the head because he has talent. We've seen the talent at the collegiate level, so I do think he can resurrect his career. I think he just needs to reevaluate his situation, change his attitude, make sure he becomes what you call a consummate professional, really study the game and understand what the defenses are trying to do against him. I think at college, Ryan Day was such a brilliant play caller, Greeny, that the game came easy to him. Don't forget, he threw bubble screens, he threw a lot of crossing routes, a lot of shallow routes and intermediate routes. Now the game is a little more complicated, a little more difficult. I think he can catch up to the speed of the game, but he has to reinvest himself into his profession, his craft, and make sure that he's guided and he's focused on what he wants to accomplish. There's no doubt about it. He has the arm talent to get it done, Greeny.
Yeah, no doubt. Sorry, Desmond. I agree with that completely. D. Wood, what's your reaction here?
I want to make sure I got this correct. We're talking about a guy who hasn't even started a full season in the NFL. I mean, think about that. He hasn't started a full season in the NFL. He gets drafted with Jay Gruden, who was already in the hot seat. Jay Gruden gets fired. Now you go with Ron Rivera, he didn't draft him. He doesn't hold anything. They have nothing as far as relationship, as far as coach quarterback is concerned. Now he gets the hook after what, 3 games or whatever it is. I just think that there's just not enough time. How can you really evaluate a guy, his career, after this short period of time? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I hear you, and I don't know that necessarily the book has to be written on his career. Maybe sitting down for a little while is what he needs, but I think your larger point is the right one, that more young quarterbacks are destroyed in the NFL than are developed, and that clearly he was drafted into a terrible situation last year with a tug of war between ownership and the coaching staff. This is a guy who everyone said coming out of college, he only played 12 college games, he needed more time, so maybe this actually in the long run will be the best thing for him. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.